Good afternoon and welcome to What in the Hell Am I Doing Wrong? I am your host, Jameelah B. And before we get started, please remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video and also share it. Okay, so today we have a very, very special guest and we have a very unique topic. So we're going to be talking about, do good girls finish last? And we have the honor and the privilege of having Keci Monique on our show. She is a relationship expert, wife coach, speaker, authoress, and entrepreneur. As a high-energy speaker, she presents challenges to her audience to captivate their focus, to hone in what matters in most relationships. She brings unique perspectives to her personal arsenal of experience to empower her women from around the globe. Her community is to amplify the factors of communication, intimate connections, and confidence for the most unyielding affection in keeping relationships thriving and abiding in serenity. Keci Monique brings a heart of integrity, creativity, purpose, and passion to every event. She is committed to providing high-quality coaching to single women to be empowered to thrive in their singleness while mentally and emotionally preparing for marriage. In the coach and client relationship, she will establish a creatively collaborative partnership that will guide you in achieving your goals. So thank you, Keci and Monique, and welcome to my show today.
Woo-hoo, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want to get started. The topic that we're going to be discussing today is a hot topic for women.
Yes.
We see women getting married every day, and a lot of women are looking as to why is it not me and it's her? What does she have that I don't have? And I've done everything right. I followed the rules that were given to me. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. But I've seen her out there dibbling and dabbling and doing her own thing. And she's booed up and she's married. So I want you to give us some pointers on that and why that is happening. And also, before we get started, you could tell us a little bit about how you got started being a wife coach and a relationship expert.
Okay. So a little bit about me. I come from a huge disadvantaged background. So I want everyone to know I come transparent. My mother was a drug addict for 43 years of my life. And so not only being a drug addict, she was definitely not available. And then there was my dad, who was ambivalent. So he was also not available by intention. And he told me this on his deathbed. And so it set the tone for a lot of my life. Mm-hmm. I often told people in the past, I was born for failure. Mm. But even if that's the case, I hold this finger up. Mm-hmm. Even if that's the case, you as a woman, as a human, you have the right and you have the audacity to take a pen and a piece of paper and rewrite your destiny, no matter where your history stemmed from. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's where it started for me. Taking that time to rewrite my destiny. I didn't finish high school. I ended up going back and getting my GED. And then once I got my GED, the lady who facilitated the exam, she was like, you need to go on and register for college because this is just ridiculous. And I didn't think I had it in me because no one ever told me I did. And then she tells me this and I'm like, no, that's not for me. You know, she's like, yes, it is. Look at these scores. And I'm like, did I pass? And she's like, with flying colors, you need to go. So long story short, I ended up going to college and I went because I challenged myself and then people said I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I'm like, I got to prove to myself I can do this. Okay. So then I still had the string of bad relationships. And so I left California, moved to Georgia, got into one relationship, and he was later murdered in Atlanta and in 2005. And so it left me, you know, with my youngest daughter, and she only knew him up to the age of 11 months. And so he ended up dying in the process. But I had to keep going. And no matter what obstacles came my way, I lost like 4 family members in less than 6 months.
Wow.
I still had to press on. And so finishing my bachelor's, I got awarded the Abe Lincoln Award for Perseverance because according to statistics, I should have never made it. I'm predispositioned for alcoholism, predispositioned for drugs and other stuff that's generational. But somebody prayed for me along the way, and I'm always thankful for who that person was. And so now I pray for different ones. And even those I don't know, especially when it comes to relationships, because that was my hugest challenge in life, was conquering relationships. It didn't matter which relationship it was. It could have been friendships, family relationships, and definitely the romantic ones. So what ended up happening is my last relationship, and I talked about this in my book, The Day I Met My Boaz. What ended up happening is in that last relationship, it made me say, you know what? Enough is enough. I got to figure out where the heck am I going wrong? Something's not right. Why do I keep attracting guys who seem to be a little bit different? Each one's a little bit better, but not quite what I need them to be. So the Bible tells us there's safety in the multitude of counselors. So guess what? I got a counselor. Yeah. And I didn't know about coaching at the time, or else I probably would have got me a coach. Well, anyways, the first thing my counselor said to me was, after I gave her the rundown of what was going on with this guy, she said, sounds like you don't read warning signs very well. Wow. And I was like, I'm picking up my lip and I said, can you repeat? Like, that was enough. If I needed just that to run with, that would have been enough. But I knew I had more work to do, so I kept going back until my insurance was like, we're not paying for no more this year, you're done. Right. So I exhausted everything, and I took notes, and I applied them. I did my work. I wanted healing, and it was imminent. I was hungry for it. And so what happens, well, in the question is, you know, why do the good girls finish last? Or is there something wrong with me? That's a yes and a no. Yes, they finish last sometimes, but then no, they don't all the time. Okay. Some good girls, they get married and they stay married and they have a wonderful marriage from now until kingdom come. And then you got those who actually can't figure it out, like myself. And sometimes we see, oh, mommy and daddy had a beautiful marriage, but that's only what we've seen with our eyes. We don't know what happened behind closed doors because they don't tell us, which is none of our business. Right. However, there's conversations that should be had between, you know, parent and child. And sometimes the parents don't know how to communicate. Sometimes the child don't know how to ask. And so a lot goes lacking. And so here we are, you know, living this life and cannot seem to navigate through with the attributes that we need, or the tools that we need to build these positive relationships, right? So then we end up in relationship after relationship, married, divorced, relationship, engaged, this ain't working out, we going our separate ways. Like, what in the heck am I doing wrong? So there's safety in the multitude of counselors. So the question just popped up is, should a woman propose to a man? My answer would be no. Now that's what's right to Keci Monique.
Right.
I would not ever recommend a woman proposing to a man.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, because we, I guess in this era, there, I've heard a lot of conversations about women equality. They want to have the same, level of work jobs that men have. They want to get paid the same. They want to be on an equal playing field with men. And I posted a meme up on my Facebook the other day, and I had a lot of conflicting messages, and responses. Some men were saying that it's an honor to be proposed to, but then some men say it goes against the Bible and biblical studies and being in the head of the household. For me, I know it's he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So it's like, as a woman, I could never see myself getting down on one knee and proposing marriage to anybody.
No,
so
ma'am.
you're saying that you're against that. So I mean, I think people are doing it out of desperation.
Right.
A lot of women are saying, he's not proposing, he's not doing that, I'm going to do it. I remember a young lady a few years back, she had children from this man and all that, and she's a friend of mine's daughter, and she wanted to do it. And I say, you better not do that, because if he has not asked you, that's going to be something that's always going to be over your head throughout that relationship, and he's not going to treat you the way that you should be treated. And I've always been told that you should always be with a man that loves you or likes you a little bit more than you like him.
Right.
That's, but I just think that, people are getting out of non-traditional roles. Maybe I'm too traditional in that aspect.
I think we both are.
Yeah.
I think we both might be too traditional if that's the case. Because now listen, why I would not support that is because, number one, like you said, goes against biblical standards. So if you are a Bible believer, if you believe in the Holy Trinity, if you know that Christ died on the cross, he rose again, and he ascended into heaven for our sins, that goes against the biblical standard.
Right.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. That the good thing is the marriage, and the woman comes with the marriage. So you make his life great, according to Proverbs 31. And just know, women, every woman on the face of this earth has the potential to be that Proverbs 31 woman.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe, in my research, why the woman never talks about her start is because she's in all of us.
Oh.
So no matter where we came from, at some point we grow up. We grow out of old habits. We grow out of things that we did when we were in high school, or even in our early 20s or whatever, and we start to mature, and we take on things that will enhance the value of ourselves. We start knowing our worth and things like that. But then you get some type of breakdown along the way because it's not happening in the timing that you think it should, and it breaks you down, and you start settling.
Right.
You start compromising. And so, yes, somebody said you have to know your value. It is true. In knowing our values, it enhances who we are, and it teaches him how to treat us.
Exactly.
So where we go wrong, let's say, for instance, this is an example that I got. So let's say, if you ever have said, I'm just going to trust the Lord.
Right.
And a lot of times women are saying, I'm just going to trust the Lord to bring me a man. Mindset shift. Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
If you say, I'm just going to trust the Lord for whatever it may be. So let's say, a house, a car, a new job, whatever. There's still work that you have to do. Faith without works is always dead. Okay, so if you're somebody that's falling, let's say in your physical body, you fall and someone's behind you to catch you, right? You can't tell that person how to catch you, because guess what? You're falling and all you're hoping is that someone catches you. So you can't depict how someone catches you. And this is where we go wrong with the Lord. Well, Lord, you ain't doing it fast enough. But then it's not up to the Lord to deliver your spouse. Even Adam had an option when Eve was presented to him. He could have said, no, Lord, she looked like a thought. I don't want her. Or he could have said, she's absolutely beautiful, but now I'm going to pass. Let me see what else you got, Lord. Let me see what other options are out there for me. But he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And he accepted what God presented to him. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, here, Adam, here's your wife, take her. Mm-hmm. It was an option. Right. So he took it. And this is where we are. So there's work that has to be done. Mm-hmm. Does someone know that you're available? Who knows you're available? Have you done work to heal from past experiences? Mm-hmm. Healing is imminent. What have you done to heal? You can't say, I've just been talking to my homegirl and we just have our crying sessions and we just get out the pity party. Pity parties are not acceptable ever. You'll never be empowered through a pity party. Always remember that. If you are adding value to yourself, these are some things that I wrote down.
And I just want to let y'all know, to the watchers, to the viewers, that all these little knowledge nuggets that she's dropping, they will be available for you to get the notes to the stuff that she's saying. And it's going to be on the rootfactor.org /shop. I have it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So at the conclusion of this, it'll be available probably tomorrow for you to download. So when you say for a woman to be available, to let someone know that she is available, how can someone let themselves be known to be available?
Well, there's conversations. Mm-hmm. In a book that I read, it's called How to Get a Date Worth Keeping. Okay. These are Christian counselors who wrote this book, and these people have been married well over 30 years. So I really trusted what they said. And in my search and my hunger for change and redevelopment of me, I read this book. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that he pointed out in this book was, if no one knows that you're available, how do they know you're available? If you're just sitting in the church waiting on this man to just drop out the sky, you are in trouble. And he gave this lady an assignment. He told her, you go everywhere, go to bookstores, go wherever. And she said, exchange numbers. And she said, I don't want everybody calling me. He said, I didn't say that. He said, just exchange numbers. He said, everybody's not going to call, but the ones who are interested will. Long story short, she did what he said, and in about 5 or 6 months, she was married. Wow. She was married. And so I tried what he said too. I started making myself available. Mm-hmm. But guess what? My Boaz wasn't in California. Right. My prayer was honestly that he was in Georgia, because I knew I was moving back. I knew I was not making myself available to anyone in California. So what that looked like for me, that dude found me on Facebook, literally. And we went from there. And at first I was not interested, because I was like, this dude here, and he's younger than me. Yeah, I'm a cougar, y'all.
So you're okay with the age differential? Because I know for me, I have limitations on age ranges of dating, So.
It was something I didn't even consider. It was not in my boundaries. I have the 80-20 rule that I wrote out. It was not in my 80-20 rule. Wow. So I guess in the presentation that God gave us, and the way he was with me, he was so delicate and so tender with me, but he was pursuing me. Like, it didn't matter what I posted, he was liking. At the time, it was either, what was it, like, or it was one other thing when Facebook was kind of...
Yeah, they didn't have all the little emoji.
Yeah. And so he would just like everything. Like. And so I was like, huh. And everybody was like, well, who is this guy? And why is he all over your post? I'm getting phone call after phone call, text. And I'm like, I have no idea who this stalker is. Maybe y'all should find out, because I don't care. That's not for me. And at the time, I was taking classes for my master's degree. Mm-hmm. And I was taking criminal profiling.
Yeah, because I've had people go back and like all of my pictures from years ago, and I'm like, That's kind of creepy. That's kind of stalkerish, you know.
And
So
that's what I thought. I was like, why is he on pictures that like 3-4 years ago? Like, what is he doing? You know? And it turned out after I criminally profiled him, somebody said, you might want to find out who that is because that just might be your husband. I'm like, that ain't none of my husband. Shut up. I don't know what you're talking about. Get off my phone. Get off the phone. And lo and behold, but it goes back to, I'm going to trust you, Lord. There's the presentation. I knew I wanted to get married. And here this presentation is, and I was literally about to walk away from it until the second go round, somebody said, that might be your husband. And it's like kind of the lights started coming on, like, well, maybe I might want to just kind of see. Then about 2 days later, he messaged me and said, have you ever thought about the sound of my voice? And all the stuff I was doing to heal and everything like that. And I was like, have you ever thought about the sound of my voice? You know? And so he responds all the time. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then immediately a scripture came to me, a soft answer turns away wrath. And because I was like real sassy, I was like, you know, kind of still that, you know, that. And I was like, maybe I might want to see what this is all about, you know. So in talking to him, our very first conversation, we stayed on the phone 10 hours and found that we had so much in common.
Wow.
10 hours. We had so much in common. And by the third, fourth, fifth day, we knew. Okay. And we knew what we knew. Mm-hmm. And I had already bought tickets to come out here. He had sent me money to help me out on my tickets. And he was like, I just want to make sure that you have enough and that you know, you don't have nothing struggling when you get back, you know. And I'm like, okay, who is this dude and where did he come from?
Right.
And, you know, being a single mom, you know, sometimes the struggle is real. I'm just being transparent. Sometimes the struggle is really real. And it was close to Thanksgiving at that time. So I got down here on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and I had a very good time. He was so much of a gentleman. I didn't worry about nothing. He made sure that I was taken care of from A to Z. I didn't have to spend any money. And when we got back to the airport and I got to TSA, he had tears in his eyes. Aww. And I'm like, are you crying? And he's like, yes, I don't want you to go. And I'm like, oh my God. And now my heart is just pounding. And I'm like, can anybody see my heart? Like, wow. So by the time I get on the airplane, now I'm crying because I'm like, what in the heck did this dude just do to me? Like, wow, no one has ever done this to me.
And see, that's a beautiful love story. So ladies, don't turn your nose up or give the side eye to the dude that's liking all your photos. That could be your future husband or your Boaz or something. So that just opened my eyes to looking at things a little bit different.
Exactly. That is it. Seeing it from another perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I did do that I probably wouldn't have done with another man is I told my husband that I loved him first.
Oh, okay.
And I told him like this. I was in a stage of my life where I was taking ownership of everything. And I wasn't holding anyone else responsible. So I said to him, I have to tell you how I feel. If you're not there, I totally understand. And if this is no longer for you, I respect that. But I love you. And I turned my phone off. So his thing was, before we got off the phone, he said, make sure you call me when you get to LAX, get to your car, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So I looked at my phone and my heart's throbbing. You know how the phone loads up. You're trying to see if you got any responses, whatever. So I'm like, ooh, no response. Okay, well, you said if he's not there. So I accepted it, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, hey, I'm just calling to let you know I'm at my car, getting ready to head home. And, you know, just want to say thank you for having a good time with me. And, you know, all is well. And he says, I have something to tell you. And I was like, okay. He says, I love you too. And I want you to come back. And I was like, okay. So Long story short, I didn't come for Christmas. I came for my birthday in January. So when I got here for January, he gave me a key to the house and he said, "This is now our house." And he said, "You don't have to call anymore. You don't have to come by. Let me know you're coming. Just show up. This is
Have
us."
you been married before?
He has and I have.
Okay, so he had never been married before. So he was marriage minded
Yes.
initially. And I see you did something that I know a lot of women find taboo, especially myself. I will never tell someone, and I have never, not saying I will never, but I have never told someone I love them if they had never said it to me.
Right.
So what I'm gathering is that it's okay for women sometimes to step outside of that traditional,
It is.
standard. Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, as long as you can own that, because he may not reciprocate that.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't just say it to everybody, because everybody don't deserve that.
Right.
But in everything that my husband showed me from the beginning, even up to that point, he was very consistent. He didn't miss a beat. And almost 11 years later, he is still the same way.
Wow.
He did not. If he says, "I'm going to call you back," he called back. And it wasn't like hours later.
Mm-hmm.
If he says, "I'm sending you money, go check your account," he sent it. I didn't have to ask for it. If he wanted to do something in between time and in the meantime, like one of the things he used to do was go and spend the weekends with his parents or at one of the aunt's house or something like that if he was off work. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we had discussed, okay, when we get married, this can't happen. And so he was like, yeah, I totally understand that. But in the meantime, he was still single.
Right.
And he was able to do that. And then I wasn't living here at the time. Mm-hmm. So once I moved back to Georgia, all of that cut out. So he was very consistent, and he still is today. And so he has made sure that my life was a lot better. So someone says fear of rejection will keep you from expressing love to someone else who's waiting to see. I understand that. So check this out. Funny you mentioned rejection. Rejection and abandonment is not about you. I'm the queen of rejection and abandonment. Remember, I said in the beginning, my life was set up for failure. My mother was not there, and neither was my father. I also had a stepmother and a stepfather who were not there either. So I didn't have anyone to turn to who really knew my emotional pain, the emotional trauma that I suffered. So now let me tell you why it's not about you. You feel the effects of it because you're in that person's life, but that person is dealing with their own demons. And how it comes off is rejection, and it is abandonment, right? Yeah. But you're not the culprit. They are their own culprit because they haven't healed from what caused them to be this way. And I had to really take a hard look at that, because I used to walk in that, and I used to wear the name brand coat, rejection, the bag, the boots, abandonment. I mean, you name it, I had it. And I was like, I cannot keep living my life like this.
Yeah.
Something else has to give. And I had to release myself from it. And so the consistency was key. The loyalty was key. The integrity. Think about in Proverbs 31. Where it talks about her husband is known in the gates. And then it talks about basically how he praises his wife because of the things that she does to make him a better man in so many words, right? Mm-hmm. I have gone places where people know my husband. They know his parents and everything like that. People have stopped me, ask about him, make sure you take care of him. That's a good man. And this is what they say to me. And I just smiled, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what an honor to have someone just say these things about my husband everywhere I go. Almost 10 years of marriage, I still get that. Wow. I still get that. This man is a hardworking man. He don't hang out in them streets. The people he's friends with, they have just as much integrity as he does. These are not men who step outside of their relationships or their marriages. You know, they take care of home. And so one of his friends ended up divorced, and I was just kind of looking like, why? You know, and why would she, of all people, divorce him? You know, because these are good men, you know, and I get it. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but I did know and discern that his circle is very small, but they are good men. And so it was coming out of that box, allowing myself to heal, taking off that coat and those boots and that hat of rejection and abandonment and fear and just walking in and being ashamed of stuff that I didn't ask for. Those things didn't belong to me. So guess what I started doing? In my prayer, return to sender. Lord, send this stuff back to its rightful owner. This person gave this to me. This don't belong to me. I don't want to walk in rejection. I don't want to walk in low self-esteem. I don't want to walk in lack of self-confidence. You know, send that stuff back to them people who gave me that stuff. Those are some soul ties that we typically get in a lot of cases through sex. A lot of cases it's through some other means of bonding. Those things don't belong to you if you did not bring them out. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things is learning to value you, learning that rejection and abandonment does not belong to you. It doesn't. Even if, you know, the last guy you dated, he was just a liar, this, that, and the other. Listen, sis, you got a voice, use it. If it's not serving you, don't stay.
Yes. And that's so important because people stay in a lot of toxic relationships just for the sake of saying I'm there, I'm comfortable, or because they've been taught not to leave relationships. So going back to the theme of do good girls finish last. Okay. So if you have a young lady, a woman, she does everything she's supposed to do. She's waiting to have sex before marriage. She's not really trying to be out here, dating everybody. She's trying to follow the word. She's trying to make sure everything is in place for her so that she can be prepared for their husband. And things just seem to not be manifesting in the direction that she wants it to be, or is it going? How would someone still have faith or hope that, okay, marriage may be coming, but you just have to be patient?
Okay. So what I learned is that sometimes we're out of season. Okay. And you could think of this as being a piece of fruit. You can think of this as being, a pack of meat that you bought from the store. And I oftentimes relate it to the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Okay. So, when you go to the store, you're buying turkey, you're buying, and some people make, what is that stuff? Gumbo. Some people make, the low country boil, whatever you buying. That stuff had to go through a process to get to the store.
Right.
Okay. So it had to go through a process of going to a slaughterhouse. It had to go through a process of being put together in the box for the stuff to make the dressing, the macaronis, if you're making wild rice, dirty rice, whatever you're making, it all went through a process to get to the store. So that's the first part. There's a process. Focus on this word, process, y'all. Once it gets to the store, you, me, other consumers, we go and we shop to purchase these goods. Now, just imagine if you go to the store, you buy all this uncooked food, and you go and sit it on the table and say, here, y'all eat. It's still in this process. It's not ready. And so it has to be prepared. So in the midst of it being prepared, what do? You take that meat, you're starting to rinse it off, you seasoning it, you're making it tender, you might marinate it for the grill. Whatever the process is, it has to go through that so it can be presented as whole and ready. And so this is where we get stuck. We stop in the process because it don't look like how we should look. So now you got to change your ocular. It could be, okay, I'm in the process, but what am I supposed to be doing? Okay, so some of y'all were supposed to start businesses that you haven't started. So this could be the brink of creating a financial travesty if you run and get married tomorrow.
Right.
Some of you are supposed to be teaching, could be through coaching, could be through just being an online teacher of your own forum. I don't know. I don't know who I'm talking to. Some of you were supposed to go back to school. Maybe you're supposed to be working on a master's degree or a doctorate or even starting the bachelor's program. Whatever it is, finish your process. Mm-hmm. You want to bring these things to the table, not so much as the degree, but the fact that you can finish. It's the fact that you have something to bring to the table, the fact that your time is not going to be occupied 100% with corporate America. And these are things that I know for me, I was stuck in my process because my focus was off. Mm-hmm. And so in focusing in on that, we tend to carry things that was not ours. So let's go back to abandonment and rejection. Mm-hmm. So, and I tend to be a little bit funny. So y'all, if y'all want to laugh at me, that's okay. But remember the song Bag Lady?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she has that nice little, that little pop tune, and you just be like, you know, yeah. But if you ever really listen to the lyrics, you don't want to carry all of that stuff with you. What are you carrying?
Yes.
Return that stuff to sender through your prayers. Lord, okay, when I dated this one, you know, I was so tired. I was sinning. I was doing stuff I ain't had no business doing. Own it. Yes. Own that stuff. Mm-hmm. This is what I was doing, Lord. You know what I was doing. I'm going to confess it. Return the part that's his back to him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what this looks like, and I talk about this in my book. There's 3 different guys that I dated. There was Mr. Love Pistol, mm-hmm. Mr. Dressed in Lies, and Mr. Ambivalent. So I gave them specific names to their characters. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Mr. Dressed in Lies was just that. Master's degree, dressed in a suit, always looking good, smelling good, but couldn't tell the truth to save heaven or hell. Uh-huh. Seriously. Oh, yeah, we going out. We going to do this. We going to do that. It was always, we're going to go do this and do that. And it never happened. I don't know why I allowed myself to stay around as long as I did, but I had to say, you know what? Enough is enough. Right. You are a liar, and this is just not happening. Mm-hmm. So I had to return to sender, Lord, break the soul ties, because I fell into sin. Guess what? Getting impatient, doing it my way. So now you got Mr. Ambivalent. Oh, little bit better than Dressed in Lies, but not quite. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to take you out. I want to do this. I want to do that. Phone rings the night of the date. Oh, my son had a seizure. So now I'm panicking because I'm mommy mode, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, please, take care of your son. I totally understand. So then the next time we were supposed to go out, my son had a seizure. So now I'm like, okay, all right, take care of your son, call me later. So the next time we were supposed to go out, the boy mama wanted him to watch their son. Yeah, because I was just telling her, we were going out, and, she said she needed me to watch the baby. I said, okay, so can you tell me, do you want to go out, or, what? Because, I get your son had a seizure, but it seems like every time it comes to me, there's some excuse. Right. Yes, I want to go out with you, blah, 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 blah. Hung in there way too long. So Valentine's Day was coming 2009. And my stepmother said to me, this was probably about February 9th. She says, God will never bless you with a good man. You don't know what a good man look like. And so now I'm holding the phone in straight devastation because I never saw that coming from her. Mm-hmm. And I just was quiet. And she was like, hello. And I said, I'm here, but I got to go. Yeah. I got off the phone because now I'm broken. Because here I got this dude telling me he's going to do something, then he doesn't show up. I'm on my way. You don't show up. Oh, I'm coming. Don't show up. I want to go out with you. You don't show up. It's always an excuse. So I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I allowed those words to penetrate me for the longest. And then one day, the Holy Spirit said, she's right. She's right. Her delivery was off, but she was right. You don't know what a good man looked like. So you still need to forgive her. And I was like, ugh, okay, return to sender. Because I had to release it. And so in moving forward, I was purposed that I'm going to find what a good man looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it didn't happen with the next one either, Mr. Love Pistol. So he was the type of guy who basically, I called him a trick. And what happened is we were two people who exchanged things. And unfortunately, he told me that the stuff I gave him was gifts the night that I walked into his apartment. And when I walked into his apartment, he was getting ready to have sex with this older lady for a flat screen TV. So I said, well, let me just get my things. Yes, girl, a flat screen TV.
Oh my God.
Y'all got to read the book to get all the details. But listen, he was getting ready to do this older lady. This was somebody's grandmother, okay? I mean, obviously grandmother, for a flat screen TV. He had asked me to co-sign for him a student loan. I was like, no. Now that's what I'm not going to do. I've been stupid in a lot of situations, but I will not be stupid for this. No, you're not my husband. You're not even close to being my husband. So no. And so I know it sounded harsh, but I was not putting my name on no documents like that for no boyfriend. And so this is where me getting the counselor came in, and I was almost arrested by Anaheim Police Department because they said, well, you're an officer of the law. You should have known better, because I told him out of my own mouth. And yes, I did say, if I don't get my things, I'm going to tear your apartment limb for limb. And I don't know if him or the lady would have gotten in the way because I was so angry. Would I have hurt them? Probably. I don't know. But I wanted my things. And so I had to walk away from my stuff. I had to decipher what was more important, my freedom or my things. And so I had to hire an attorney because now my reputation is on the line with my job. I could have gotten fired. So many things could have happened. And in the process of all of that, I had to say, okay, Keci, you got to make a better decision about dating. Right. So I took a sabbatical.
Yeah.
And I had to chase my healing. Listen, ladies, don't sit there knowing that you have a fear of rejection, knowing that you have a fear of abandonment, and that you're out of season right now. Take this time to do your work. So when you do get to a point where you're deciding, okay, now I want to make it known that I'm single, I'm ready to date. You can honestly say, because you've done your work, I'm choosing me and I'm choosing what's right for me. And even though the weeds, the tares of the weeds will still try to pop up, you could still say, no, get out my way. Get out of my way. I don't want this. This ain't going to serve me. I don't want to be a part of this. And whatever this may be, it could be, if you're not the type of person that like extra people in your bed, don't settle for that. If you're not the type of person that likes a man that's going to date multiple women, don't settle for that. I don't care what he looks like. He's broken on the inside. And what I was telling Jameelah in the beginning, before we came online, is that sometimes, in a lot of cases, people can only take you as far as they can. So right. If a person is dealing with abandonment and rejection in their own selves, they can only take you up to that point. And guess what they do? Abandon you and reject you, because that's all they know. It's not an excuse, because they need to be on somebody's couch. But don't allow that to stifle you, the beautiful you inside, who will be great for someone. I tell my own children, I have 3 adult children. I've told cousins, I've told friends, don't ruin somebody who could potentially be good for someone else. I hate to see that. If this is not serving you, don't use that person. Don't sit around knowing that you don't want to do this. Open your mouth and talk. I've told my brother, Don't drag somebody through the mud because you don't want to be by yourself.
Right.
Let it go and let that person be great in somebody else's life.
And let me ask you this right quick. And this has been a topic of discussion that I had going on my Facebook page as well. With everything that's going on in social media with Portia Williams dating her friend's ex on Housewives. And even though she said they're not friends, but let's just say someone is someone's friend. But my friend, like I'll just say my friend didn't like the person and, didn't really want to be with them. And he might have had an attraction for me. I had an attraction for him. How do you feel about friends dating exes of friends? How would you address that, or how would you move in a situation like that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That happened to me. My cousin years ago introduced me to a gentleman. He played football for UCLA. Nice looking gentleman. I mean, he had the body, he had the job, he had the apartment, he didn't have no children at the time. I mean, he was prime as far as that goes, but inside he was jacked up. As soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, whoa. So my cousin ended up getting with him. And I was angry for some years.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually released it, but I never trusted again. To date someone's ex, that's a violation. That's a violation of the girl code. That's a violation of the friendship. I don't care if you're just associates. I mean, it's just a violation. It's just something that you should not do. And honestly, I feel that that's, in my personal opinion, I feel it's more lust than oh, this person's attracted to me, I'm attracted to him. You might be, but
yeah, I mean, I feel I have feelings about it, and it's been interesting to see the different opinions about it, because I've seen some women say, okay, well, if they've been broken up for over a year or more or what have you, and that person has moved on, they don't see the problem with it. But to me, I look at it as, if it's my friend, if I call you friend, that's totally different from me, somebody I associate with, or someone who is just an acquaintance. Now, I will take into consideration if it's a friend of a friend, like if it's my best friend and this person is friends with them, I would take into consideration the place that it would put, the position it would put my friend in, being in the middle of that.
Right.
I would never want to put anybody in an uncomfortable situation, but I do feel like that's a very taboo thing to do. I mean, some people feel like, oh, you might be missing out on your blessing, but I don't think that God would put that in your way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, had Portia not been at this woman's house before, because someone told me that she was over the lady's house, all in the lady's pool and all this other stuff. To me, you were in a private space before with this lady. So to me, it's still off limits.
Right.
I just don't think it would be wise to go into that. I know for me, that would not be for me. And I didn't like this gentleman. I mean, I tried to, and I gave him an opportunity, but once I was like, nah, I said, he's too pompous and he's too arrogant, and he had this thing of, oh, you could spend the night at my house. I'll respect you in the morning. And, my smart mouth, I know you're going to respect me because I'm waking up in my own bed. I'm not even going to see your bed,
Yeah.
But they ended up having a child together, and it ended up being exactly what it would have been had it been me. He was just a jerk. And she saw that. And so now she's way in opposite field today because she can't seem to get the relationship sector right. So she's doing something totally different. But saying all that to say, you introduced me to this person, you shouldn't have never went after this person.
Right.
And and even I'll say this, if you were just somebody I met and I see you every now and again, I wouldn't consider you friend. I wouldn't even really consider you an acquaintance. You're just somebody that I see every now and again.
Right.
But if I'm all in your pool, I done been at your house eating your food, I'm I'm
Yeah,
just
that's a
gonna say
very,
no.
I mean, and a lot of people consider that to be bad girl behavior, but a lot of good girls are feeling like Portia is winning. That's how they're looking at it, like she's winning. But in the long run, that it's some serious ramifications that go in the long run with a situation like that. I don't see positivity. I mean, I'm not speaking negativity over anybody, but I don't see any positive outcome in that particular situation. It just seems very messy and very dirty.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not.
And you got to take into consideration, you might not know the in-depthness of the feelings that they might still have for one another. And if it's a situation where she's been doubling back or he's been doubling back with her and they're still being sexually active and hanging out and stuff like that, that's going to get very, very ugly in the end, because they probably wasn't finished with whatever they got going on. And so now that it's Portia in the mix, I just have my thoughts and my feelings about Portia. She's very beautiful, but sometimes we got to fill our head with more than air. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I love Portia and everything, but I feel like a lot of people are taking the approach of opportunity, so this
could be
there. So a lot of people are looking at that, and I'm looking at, and back to what you're saying about your cousin and the gentleman, I'm looking at this L. Thomas post that absolutely not. My older sister had a child by my baby sister's husband, ripped our family in their relationship.
Wow.
They're all dead now, far too soon, and never mended the fences. That's horrible, Wow. But then I see Tomaticus says all's fair in love and war. I mean, I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about that. I feel like if you're friends with someone and that person is supposed to be your friend, and like you said, going over to the house, being in that person's intimate space, some stuff should be just off
limits. It's just girl code. I mean, I think all is fair in love and war when it pertains to other things. Right. I can't say that with relationships, because I know me. I get feisty, and if you're my friend or even an acquaintance, I'm just not going there with you.
Right.
And I'm very guarded, and if you don't mind our friendship being broken, then go for it.
Yeah. It's not an important. I even recall a situation where a guy I knew from high school, I never knew he liked me, but I knew a friend of mine actually liked him, and they were trying to, I guess, get to know one another. But he was reaching out to me, wanting to date me. But I definitely went to her to get her take on it. Like, how do you feel about this? Did anything ever go, anywhere with you, all or whatever? Because I would never. I know it wasn't that she wanted to be with him or anything like that, but I would never want to place someone in an uncomfortable situation and damage that relationship down the line. So I look at karma, things. I mean, how you get somebody is how you
gotta keep them. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like with this whole situation, it's a public situation, and granted, Fallon, the ex-wife, and Portia are both beautiful women. So he went, it's not like he went from sugar to shit or anything like that. But it's you have to look at, in the long run, how is this going to play out? And it's like with Portia, you might end up having to constantly be worried about, if your friends are coming over to the house, what is his next move going to be?
Because if he did it with her,
right, he'll do it again.
The potential to do it again is always great.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that.
No one can put lipstick.
Yes.
Call it
say that. Oh my gosh. Kudos for that. Yes. No one can put lipstick on a pig. Oh my God. Yes. And the thing is, like you, when my husband reached out to me, we met on a post that my cousin posted on.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately, when I discovered that I liked this guy, I went to my cousin. I said, hey, cuz, I want to ask you a question. Now, I didn't even know my cousin. We had never met in person. We were only Facebook friends because we were having this family reunion. And so everybody was trying to pair everybody, whatever. And I asked her, I said, so, hey, what is the relationship between you and Jerome? Because I want to know, because he's asking me to be his lady. And I can't do that if you guys have dated. And she was like, "Are you serious?" And so in all caps, I'm like, "Oh man," my heart just dropped because I'm thinking in my
They
mind, this
dated.
part came out here. This was before we solidified it as a relationship. I mean, we did everything so non-traditional. This was before anything took place. And so when she said that, she said, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yes, he's asking me these questions." And so I was like, "I need to make sure." She says, "Girl, go for it." She said, "No, we were never lovers, friends in that way or anything like that." She was like, "He is my high school friend and he is a good guy. You will
Okay.
love him." And I was like, "Okay, whew." She
Great.
scared me with that, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." But I went to her because if he was somebody she dated, it was automatically off limits for me. I didn't care how good he was. I didn't care how consistent. I didn't care at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to make sure that that was all free and clear. And I know what happened to me with another cousin. So I just didn't want to do that. And so she was like, "No, no, no." She was like, "Girl, you are good. I hope things work out." And then next thing you know, we were getting married. So she was like, "Oh my goodness." She said, "I just happened to post something." She makes this long post and she said, "And my cousin and one of my high school friends are getting married and blah, blah, blah." And so I thank God for the whole presentation that happened between us because I could have really still been stuck in, oh my gosh, I was 39, he was 27. And my
Oh.
thought was, what is this young buck gonna do for me?
Oh, I didn't know the difference with that's a huge age difference. I mean, I'm gonna have to talk to you again about that because my woman is maybe 5 years, maybe 5 years.
I never thought about it. In all honesty, Jameelah, I never thought
Wow.
about it. I had never thought about age when I was writing down my 80-20 rules. Age never popped up because, in all honesty, my thought was I wanted someone older than me.
Mm.
But he came and I mean, he blew my mind. And I'm not talking sexually, I'm talking about his everything.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything about him.
I mean, you're making me look at things a lot different because I know a lot of women, especially of my age, in our 40s or what have you, we definitely would not look at someone younger. So it's
Right.
like we're
And
actually
that was
all
not my plan.
different guys. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking at 39, I thought, okay, well, maybe, I might date somebody, maybe up to 10 years older than me, but, it was never a factor, and I dated somebody younger than me, shall I say, but it was only like a year or two. It wasn't like that, 12 years. And so it was huge for his family, because he's a very private person. And so when he was in a relationship, it was huge. It was just a huge ordeal. But the bottom line is I had to go to my cousin to see had they ever, dated or on any level. And she was like, "Oh no, no, go for it." And I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "You're gonna be so happy because he's a good guy and blah, blah, blah." And now I was cheesing because I'm like, "Whoo, thank you, Jesus," because I didn't want to let this go, but I was gonna have to say bye.
I know, and I'm like, I'm looking at Devil's Advocate Tomaticus in the comments saying, "What if she threw salt on the game or was jealous?" So, had you heard anything negative, would that have deterred you?
It would have made me think.
Right.
It would have made me think. Now, if she would have said something negative in respects to, I used to date him and girl, you ain't gonna like him, I would have definitely said, okay, this is off limits because she dated him. And no, if she would have said a friend of mine dated him and it didn't work out, it might be different for you. Then I would have said, okay, let me think if this is what I want. Let me just keep my
Right.
eyes open and see, because he was actually the first guy that I actually dated after I did my work.
Okay.
And I was open to the whole dating process with multiple guys, and and some women don't want to date multiple guys, and that may be okay. But the goal to dating multiple guys is not dating with the purpose of I'm looking to marry you. It's about learning and it's about teaching. You're learning from him, and he's teaching you while you're teaching him, and he's learning from you. And it doesn't have to be the same person that you're dating over and over. And it could be, because what's going to happen is out of those dates, eventually one person is going to say, "Can I date you exclusively?
Right.
I want you to be mine."
Right.
And so that's what ends up happening. But I didn't get that far in it. I was in the process of it. But he took the reins and
Still early enough. It was still early enough. So in the event that something negative would have come out. And I mean, thank God it didn't, because I know me, if they had been me and something, they would have said something, I would have backed away immediately. And I love what comment says about surround yourself with people who push, promote, and polish you. People like this are like that used sandpaper, rough, ragged, and tattered. I totally agree. But yeah, so as we're closing out, I want you to just give like a little rundown on what you want to tell these ladies, because I do still believe in, holding to your values, never compromising yourself for the sake of a relationship. And don't look at what, we might see somebody as being a loose woman, or like they like to say nowadays, the thots. So we might see them as being a thought and be like, well, he wifed her though. So
right.
What would you say to women who may be looking at the optics and saying, okay, maybe what I'm not doing is not working. I need to, kind of reevaluate what I'm doing and maybe change who I am to kind of fit the wifey mode. What would you say?
Okay, so what I wrote down was 5 things I wanted you to take away. Now, I'm not going to read all of the information in there. I'll put this on my website and you can go and download it, and it'll be free. So y'all can definitely download it.
Yeah, and I'll put the link at the bottom so you all will see to be scrolling across.
Okay. So the first thing is I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to go through my process gracefully. The thing with the process is it's never pretty, but it's imperative that we go through it to get to the crown of beauty that will be exchanged for ashes. Build value within yourself. Get a coach, go to counseling, go to therapy. If you have some other mental instabilities going on, definitely seek psychological assistance. And in some cases, you may need medication to help you balance it. I'm always an advocate for mental health. If you are struggling there, please get help. Do not sit there knowing that something is wrong and you need the help. Okay, number 3, establish your 80-20 rule. In Habakkuk 2, verses 2 and 3, it says, then the Lord told me, I will give my message in the form of a vision. Write it clearly to be read at a glance, or even so that a 5th grader can read it and comprehend it. At the time I have decided, my words will come true. You can trust what I say about the future. It may take long, but I will wait. It will happen. Now that's in the Bible. Okay. Number 4, don't quit in the process. Don't quit, because if you quit, you got to start over. Especially if you've come so long. In a long way from where you were. You may not be where you need to be, but don't quit. Keep doing the work. It's imperative. And just know, when someone abandons or rejects you, it's not necessarily because of you. It is because they have gone as far as they can. Remember that. You want someone to love you more than what they do. They cannot love you more than what they do, because it's not in them. They can only love you as far as they can. Think about that. So that's the 5 things I want you guys to take away from this. And definitely don't focus on whether you finish last or first. You're going to finish right on time.
Yes.
Right on time.
Yes, and I see a lot of things in the chat that, people are saying about mental health, going through the process gracefully, how social media has put a lot of pressure on women. And
don't fall for it.
Yes.
Don't fall for it. Listen, you are in your process for you and what God has for you. And thank you, Lord. What God has for you cannot be taken.
Right.
It can't be given to nobody else. Nothing can happen to it, because it's for you.
Right.
Period. Yes. What you got to do is finish your work. So when you know the term game recognized game.
Yes.
So when it's time for you to step into the game, the other part of the game gonna know, okay, yeah, I want to get to know that game.
Mm-hmm.
It'll know. Like attracts like. So let's stay in that process and complete it. Whatever you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to start a business. You're supposed to be coaching. You're supposed to be teaching, going back to school, get that PhD, get that doctorate, whatever it is. You becoming a master beautician. You're supposed to open a salon. You're supposed to, start on making t-shirts, whatever it is. And I'm telling y'all things that I've done. So get to it. Get to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Relationship. Wait, that went away. It says relationship trauma from the past must be. Yes, that's part of doing your work. That is part of doing your work. You are in the work phase if you are in the process. If it seems like everything around you is dead, it's because you're in the process. You're not in season. Go back to the fruit. You are not in season right now. And it's okay. You just can't live there. Don't let yourself live there.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I see Jameelah Eugene is in the chat who put that up. And that's why I actually Keci Monique. We were on the Clubhouse and she had a chat going about women don't do drama, they do business. So make sure you're on Clubhouse, go and follow her. She has some insightful conversations.
Yes.
And bringing up conversations, Keci Monique has a podcast. So I have that link also scrolling in the bottom, and you can check it out on all the different, podcast platforms.
I'm on every platform.
Yes, it's called The Pink Out. So definitely check her out. And I'm going to bring her back because we're at our time. But I want to say thank you again, Keci. And again, I'll have all this stuff in the description, like where you can find our podcast, where you can get notes from today's conversation. We will definitely have it all in the description on the YouTube video. So again, thank you, Keci Monique, for being here. And if you have not liked or subscribed to this video, please do so at this time. And again, you all have a great Sunday. You want to say anything before we leave out?
Ladies, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen. I remember when I was trying to figure out relationships and people were being mean to me because I didn't know. People were being rude to me because I didn't know. I had no blueprint. So for those of you who got something out of today, I am happy. And I hope that it's something you can live by, pass on, or, even share with someone else. But thank you for even taking the time to listen. I feel totally honored.
Thank you. And I like the comment that Thomas said, live your life because your mate will show up, and they will.
Yes.
They'll definitely show up.
When you least expect it. And,
yes.
and
where
that old saying, you will know, it is so true. You will know. Both of you. It's not just you. Both of y'all will know. I promise you.
All right. Well, you all have a great Sunday. And thank you again, Keci Monique, for being here. Thank you. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and share and like this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.